Good Tuesday evening to everyone. Good Tuesday evening to everyone. This is a beautiful day, and we are just so glad and elated. Again, good Tuesday evening to everyone. I trust everyone is or will be terrific across the virtual world. Thus, I am Pastor Timothy Sands of St. Paul African Methodist Episcopal Church in the fabulous city of Madison, Georgia. The parishioners, disciples, and members of St. Paul are grateful for your presence, and our guest author, inspirational speaker, Dr. Jessica Houston, and psychotherapist and entrepreneur, Miss LaShanna Stevens. Now, if you will, let me tell you here, Miss Stevens is an exceptional and resilient leader, founder of Sound Advice Counseling. Dr. Houston is a daughter, a wife, a mother, and president and chief executive officer of Jessica Houston Enterprises. Dr. Houston's speaking style is captivating and engaging. Therefore, that's why we're calling this session Strategic Visionaries. And that is why that I chose to invite them and invite these visionary leaders, women in leadership, to share with us. And let me say this, creating organizations that value a growth mindset can create context in which more people grow into the knowledgeable, visionary, and responsible leaders we need. And we thank Carol Dweck for those great words. Now, once again, we're just so happy to have an inspirational speaker, a coach, a training superior trainer, facilitator. And we have an awesome psychotherapist that knows how to get you right. So with that being said, we welcome Dr. Jessica Houston and Miss LaShanna Stevens on this evening, on this, again, Strategic Visionaries. And once again, we are delighted to have them. Now, with that being said, Ms. Stevens, Dr. Houston, we welcome you aboard. As I said, welcome aboard. I'm sorry, I'm stepping on you.
Oh, we just said thank you. Glad to be.
Oh, you all are more than welcome. So we'll go ahead and, if you will, we will jump right in with a few questions here. And one of the questions that I have for you, Dr. Houston, what inspired you to write Women's Secrets It's time to stop suffering in silence.
So that was my first book. And actually, it's not something that I was jumping up and down to write. It was something that I was obligated to write. And it was more so, I'm the type of person that I'm very private. And so I did not want to share a lot of the things that I had encountered, that I had experienced. But I knew that me being open and honest about some of the struggles that I've had, from low self-confidence to unhealthy relationships to settling to depression, I knew that by me sharing that and sharing strategies that I would help a lot of women. And that is exactly what happened. So it really was a mandate for me to be open and honest and not feed into this idea that, I had this perfect life, because truthfully, and Miss Stevens can attest to this, nobody has a perfect life. It doesn't matter what it looks like from the outside looking in. We know that we all got some things going on. Yeah.
Right. Did you want to piggyback off of that statement, Ms. Stevens?
Oh, most definitely. I think we all have stuff going on in our lives. It can look good on the outside. I mean, prime example, it can look good on the outside, but it can be all the way tore up on the inside. But I mean, I think that's what makes us, that's what molds us into the people that we're supposed to become. The struggles and the strains that we have in life, they're not by happenstance. So, yeah.
Wow. Now, Ms. Stevens, Dr. Houston touches on, in that particular publication, she touches a little bit on, well, she don't touch a little bit on it, she touches a lot on it, on depression. Mm-hmm. And mentions one reason depression is often avoided stems from the negative stigma attached to it. If you don't mind, and again, to my audience, these responses are appetizers, because if you want to get the entree, the salad, and the soup, and the beverage, and the dessert, you're going to have to purchase these publications, and you're going to have to go see and schedule an appointment with Ms. Stevens. All right. Now, with that being said, how do you help clients dealing with depression?
Well, basically, we come in and we'll explore the origin of depression, because sometimes, clients don't understand where things come from. So if we want to challenge depression, we got to first know where it comes from. And a lot of it comes from their internal dialogue. So that's one of the first things we want to explore is what are you telling yourself daily that maintains this state of depression? And then we want to try to change those cognitive thoughts and replace them with more positive things. And sometimes if it's pervasive enough, we have to get medication. And a lot of clients think that because I'm depressed and I need medication, and that's typically not the case. But sometimes they'll think if I take medication, I have to take it for the rest of my life. And that's most definitely not the case either, because sometimes depression is situational. And once the situation changes and gets better, so will the depression. So we have to explore where it's coming from, the triggers for those things, and then start to replace those with more positive ways of life and ways of thinking.
Wow. So, Ms. Stevens, Dr. Houston discussed, well, let me go back to this and then we'll come back to it. Okay. So Dr. Houston, what inspired you to write Profitable Conversations, How to Position Yourself for Expansion?
Yeah, so that particular book was when I was a lot further along in my journey. And that is more so a personal development and business development resource. So in that book, I talk about walking in your purpose. I talk about how to profit from your brilliance. I talk about the process of promotion, and also just how to walk your vision out. So I give a lot of tactical strategies, and I've gotten really, really good feedback from that book. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And of course, a little bit later on, I want you to make sure that you hold those two particular publications up because they are worth having. The most recent one, my cousin is an avid reader, 8-year-old, and she has it now in her library. And of course, I have the other one that you shared with me 8 years ago when you came to speak at my church in Macon. So, Ms. Stevens, Dr. Houston discusses avoiding the pitfall of doubt. But can you elaborate on how you can navigate or navigating through self-doubt?
So basically, we want to explore what are those limiting beliefs. Sometimes they think that, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. One of the first questions when a client tells me, well, I don't know how to do that or I can't do that, my question is, who told you that? Because a lot of times that thought that I can't do this or I shouldn't do that, that usually doesn't come from them. That comes from someone in their past that's told them that. So I had one client in particular years ago that said, well, I can't get a degree. And I was like, why can't you? And so we went through the process of setting those goals and step by step what she needed to do. And I think she just graduated last year from college. So we have to make sure that they're exploring where their beliefs are coming from and challenging those within themselves, because a lot of that stuff didn't come from them.
Wow. Wow. Dr. Houston, would you like to share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really have a burning question for her based on that first question that you asked.
Yes.
I really would love for her, and I mean, it may, I don't know, it may ruffle some feathers, but I would like for her to really talk about the church really encouraging people to seek out therapy if they need it. Because I know a lot of times as Christians, we'll be like, just pray about it.
That's the first thing you hear.
Yeah. So I would love for you to talk about that.
And I grew up, I've been in the church all my life. And that first thing, you don't need to go to counseling, just call, talk to the pastor, talk to God and things of that nature. But God gives us common sense, and I think that now churches are beginning to embrace therapy more. And I've been called to a lot of churches as a resource for them to make referrals and things of that nature. But it's still, we have a long way to go, especially in our Black community. They just really don't believe in mental health counseling. But along the years since I've been in private practice, I've been so happy to see the progression of people being more open to therapy, because therapy doesn't mean that you're crazy or something's wrong with you. Sometimes people just want to come to therapy to have someone that's non-judgmental to bounce things off of and to maybe get further in life. I have women and men all the time that just want to move forward in life, and they come to therapy, and they're not depressed. They just want a different life and someone to help them decide where to go and what to do.
Wow. Interesting. Do you have anything else on that, Dr. Houston?
Oh, no, that was it. I just want to make sure, because a lot of times, and as she said, especially in our communities, it's really something we just don't talk about enough anyway, in my opinion. And, a lot of times people are shamed if they are struggling with depression. And I know just with me, a lot of people don't know the extent of my depression and the extent of my self-doubt and me not even wanting to live. Like I went through some serious struggles mentally and emotionally. And so I knew that, okay, I can't pull out of this by myself. I'm going to need to pray. I need to fast. I need to do all of that, but I also need to talk to somebody. Right. And so, yeah, that was why I wanted her to really emphasize the importance of, it's not a sign of a weakness, the fact that you are seeking help. Right. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And that is important, because sometimes the church just don't know, parishioners just don't know that these resources are out there. No, it's not free, by no means, because when you deal with Dr. Houston and when you deal with Miss Stevens, you're dealing with a high caliber vehicle, a major luxury vehicle, because they have the brains to be able to tell you and to give you the insight to move to the next level. Ms. Stevens, you had something else?
No, I'm
okay.
Yeah, I love therapy and the thought of therapy. So yeah, I'm just agreeing.
Okay. So, Dr. Houston, can you tell the audience about a little bit about, because again, this is just appetizer. If you want the entree, you've got to secure these publications. But can you tell the audience a little bit about manifesting your vision and walking in your purpose?
Yes. So it takes a lot. So it's not like I can just say you need to do this, because there are so many things that I believe you need to do to truly make your vision a reality. But I would say, for starters, you want to set a clear vision, like knowing exactly what it is that you want to do. And so when we talk about goal setting, a lot of times people are like, I want to be rich. Well, that's not a concrete goal. Like, how much money do you want to make a year, per month? How are you going to do it? So I always start from where I want to be, and then I kind of back into that and say, okay, well, what do I need to do in order to get here? And when it comes to walking in your purpose, a lot of times people think that their career is their purpose. Like, well, I'm skilled, I went to college for this, but that might not necessarily be your purpose. It might just be the profession that you chose. So I like to go inward and think about what feels good to me. So if I'm unfulfilled in the work that I'm doing, like, I do not want to go in today. Like, you sitting in the car, like that's not your purpose, because your purpose is going to excite you. You're going to be excited to get up, looking forward to your clients or whatever that field or industry it is that you're working in. Like, nobody has to shake you to get up. Like, you are ready and your energy is really high. And you're going into that position every day with the spirit of excitement and expectation. So that's one of the ways to know if you're in your purpose, because your purpose is going, you're going to have some fire as we, fire in your belly. Like, oh, I just love this. Like, you can nerd out on things. Like, see, we don't be buying all of these counseling books and cognitive behavioral therapy, but I do, because I'm a nerd. But anyway, I mean, most people aren't reading that kind of stuff, but like, you're going to be like, oh, this is exciting. I love it. You're probably always buying books about different strategies and techniques. So that's how you know, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I'm excited. So when we're talking about personal growth, when we're talking about empowerment, when we're talking about public speaking and coaching, like all of that, I just absolutely love it. But if I was going to a place where I'm not fulfilled every day, then I know that that's not in my purpose. Right.
Mm-hmm. So you really have to be passionate and love what you're doing.
Right.
Yes, that's a part of it. And also, one of the things I mentioned in the book is that your purpose often unfolds. And a lot of people are like, I just want to find my purpose. But this season, it might be this. And then 5 years down the line, it might change. And so you also got to be willing to try out other things just to know, like, okay, is this something I enjoy? And one of the things I'll do, and then I want to definitely let Ms. Stevens talk too, is I would try to find out, like, what is it that you can talk about all day long and not become bored? Like, what types of magazines do you like to read? Do you like health and wellness? Do you like beauty? So just kind of think of those things and just test things out to see what really gets you excited.
Ms. Stevens?
Right along the lines of what Jessica does is kind of sort of what I do as well. I think one of the if I ask clients what their goal of coming to therapy, the popular answer I get is, I want to be happy. And my first question is, what does happiness look like for you? Because happiness is relative. It isn't the same for everybody. So, I explain it to them as if you're going to Atlanta and you've never been to Atlanta before. You need a roadmap to get there, to know when you get there. So happiness is the same way. If you don't know where you're going and what happiness looks like for you, you'll never get there. So we do things like make vision boards. We set goals. I tell my clients all the time, write the goal down and then put the little bitty steps that go along with achieving that goal, put them there so that as you achieve, those small things, it'll make you feel like you're doing something. If we put a huge goal and then it just seems like it's insurmountable, a lot of times people give up. But if you have little bitty small steps that you're able to check off, often it'll make you feel accomplished. So that's part of counseling as well. Just finding out what your goal is and finding a way and a roadmap to get there.
Wow. I'm going to take a second, and I don't mean it, and you all can be silent if you like, but I do have a couple or a few people from the St. Paul, my new the new church where I serve as the pastor in the great city of Madison, Georgia. Is there anybody on that just want to bring greetings?
Yes.
Okay.
My name is Jeanette Ross. I'm one of your ushers at St. Paul.
All right.
And I just got on the line to see was I got you in there on my phone right. On my cell phone right.
All right.
As far as now, we are satisfied. I am satisfied with you, but we got to see about that on further down the line. But it's great having you because it's been a while since we had a man as a preacher. But I do wish Reverend Selena Clark a big success.
Amen.
And
thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Keep her in my prayer.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Sister Ross, for joining us. And we have several other guests that are on. I know they're not going to say anything from across the country. We do have some youth that have joined us as well from, let's see here, they're in the great state of Nevada. We have some youth that are on as well from the great state of Iowa. Oh my goodness, I think I need to run for president. And we have, that's in 2032. And then we have some other youth that are on from, looks like Tennessee and some other folks. So again, we're just happy to have you all. And thank you so much. Now, Ms. Stevens, how should we cope with stress? How should we cope with stress?
There are many different ways to cope with stress. One of the first things I often recommend for stress, depression, is, do you have an exercise routine? Clients don't often realize that when you exercise, your body releases endorphins, and endorphins are natural mood boosters that are already in your body. And then also, sometimes if you're stressed, I suggest vacations. I suggest, some of us are doing way too much and we maybe need to scale back some things. And sometimes I think stress is normal. Distress is what's abnormal. So a lot of us have a lot of things going on and we can adequately cope with those things. But then sometimes people have a lot of things going on that cause them distress. And so we want to, if that's the case, finding ways, whether it be taking a vacation, exercising, going to the spa, writing in your journal, things of that nature, just finding a way to pull that stress off of you, and maybe even delegating and just getting some help sometimes. Because like I said, a lot of us are doing way too much, and we do need to scale back on some of those things.
Wow. Wow. Well, Dr. Houston, if you don't mind, can you tell me why anyone need these two publications in their library?
So I believe women in general will tremendously benefit from the Women's Secrets, It's Time to Stop Suffering in Silence, because that book really helps you to dig deep and become self-aware. A lot of us have gone through trauma and heartache and disappointment, and we've kept it to ourselves. Many times women, we get married and our husbands never know, like, oh, well, yeah, I was molested, or this happened, or that happened. And so I actually had women to come to me and say, I was married to my husband 20 years and I finally told him, and I was like, oh my goodness. So that book right there really causes you to look within and realize that you can't suffer in silence. It's time to really address whatever that is that has been holding you back. And then for my second book, that's really for people who are visionaries, who really want to make an impact in the world. If you're, for example, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to write a book, if you want to maybe be a coach or a consultant, I think that's a really, really great book for you to get started on. But I also think it's good for us to figure out what we really want. Really going back to what you talked about earlier, when you were talking about that, I thought about the fact that it took me a long time to even figure out what I really wanted, because it seems like from childhood, people are molding you and shaping you and telling you what you should want and what you shouldn't want, and how ladies should behave, and how we, like, it's just so much. And sometimes you're forced into a career. Like, I know a lot of people who are attorneys, they like hate it, but their parents were like, you need to go to law school. And so now they're trying to figure out, what do I want to do? And that's when you want to look at getting access to a coach or somebody who can really help you to figure out, okay, what is it that you really want to do? And then let's go from there with building your vision. And so Profitable Conversations is definitely a great start.
Wow. Wow. And, I think it was last year, well, I don't know when it was, but I saw a video of you two. I think it was on one of the television stations in Macon. And you all were dialoguing so well. And I think Ms. Stevens touched on a wilderness piece, if you will. And if you don't mind, can you, and Dr. Houston, you may remember the question on how, or you may not even have the question on, but can you do?
It was about surviving the wilderness. I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a show we were talking about surviving the wilderness, like when you are just stuck and it's like you can't see ahead of you, you can't see behind you, like how do you get out of that? Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about.
All right. Well, can you take us there, Ms. Stevens? Thank you.
You know what, I'm having trouble recalling, but if I were to think about just when you're in the wilderness and you're looking around and you just don't know which way to go, I think you have to just sit, be calm, and think about where it is that you need to go and where you want to go, and be focused. That's not the time for you to be anxious. You may have to do like breathing exercises, whatever you need to do to make yourself calm so that you can think clearly. Because a lot of times we make hasty decisions based off of an emotion that we're going through. But if we were to take a minute and stop and think, we may not make the same decisions. So a lot of times it's about thinking things through, playing that whole tape through, and then thinking about where it is that you want to go.
Wow, wow, wow. Awesome, awesome. Ladies, I just appreciate you all stopping by and taking a few moments of your out of your schedule. Again, I know from experience from both of these, they know what they are doing. They know how to deliver, and they know how to bring the good out of you. They know how to bring the great out of you. And so, only thing I can say, you need to experience what they have to offer. I mean, they are just superb women in leadership. And so, Dr. Houston, can you elaborate on what you learned? And I don't think I've asked you this, and if I did, please excuse me. But can you elaborate on what you learned from writing these two publications?
Yes, I've learned that the writing of the book is the easiest part. The writing of the book is the easiest part. I think when you're writing, I literally always shock myself. When I finished writing Women's Secrets, I cried while writing that book, because there were so many things that I had to revisit from my childhood, from a previous relationship. And so that was more like a healing for me. But from a business standpoint, what I realize is, and this is what I would say to anyone who wants to write a book, in addition to writing the book, after your family and your friends purchase the book, how are you going to get that book into the hands of other people? And so it's so important that you understand marketing, that you understand how to build a platform, that you find someone who can help you to get on podcasts, get on the radio, get speaking engagements, which is what I actually specialize in, so that you can sell more copies of your book.
All right. And you led into a great segue there. Ms. Stevens, how can someone reach you?
Oh,
Or
wow.
reach your office, I should say. I'm sorry.
So my phone number is 478-216-7533, but I also have a Facebook business page, Sound Advice Counseling, and I also have an Instagram page, Sound Advice Counseling, as well. And so they can call, they can through both of those platforms, they can find my email and email me, and we'll get back to them as soon as possible. Yeah.
Sounds good. And what I'm going to do, since this is a live broadcast and it is available for replay, I'm just going to put this information up here, and trust that if someone forget, they will be able to go back to it. Her information is here, it's there, and please take advantage. Again, don't try to be cheap when you're dealing with getting the best service. Again, I'd rather for you to have the best service than have to funeralize you for your wellness. All right. And Dr. Houston, how can anyone get in contact with you?
So yes, they can actually find me. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Jess Houston. I'm on LinkedIn at Dr. Jessica Houston. And then my website is expectingvictory.com. But if they see me on social media, they can always just send me a direct message via Facebook or Instagram.
Absolutely. And I will also place Dr. Houston information up here on the screen, so that if someone catches the replay and they miss it, they'll be able to access the information. So again, we are just grateful for the contributions that you all are making towards society. And it is just an awesome piece, awesome piece. So again, with that being said, we again thank you, ladies. Did y'all have anything else closing that you all would like to say?
No, thank you for the opportunity. I really enjoyed tonight, and look forward to anyone that needs help and reaches out. We'll most definitely do our best to help you in any way we can.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Dr. Houston, anything else?
Yes, same here. I just want to encourage everyone to really figure out what it is that you want to do for you. I know that there's a tendency to find out what everyone else wants, but find out what you want for you. And again, if I can support you in any way, let me know.
All right. Again, thank you, ladies. I want you to have a wonderful Tuesday evening. For those of you that have been good Braves fans, now we need to cheer on the Hawks and the Falcons on Sunday, but the Hawks play tonight against the Utah Jazz. And so we need to say, go Hawks. Anyway, I'm just in Atlanta. I'm born and raised Atlanta, so I can't help it. So again, thank you, ladies. And thanks to all of my new parishioners at St. Paul and all of my guests, all of the visitors that have came on this evening. And we are just grateful. You all have a splendid evening and a prosperous week. Take care.
Thank you.